What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel for the Week 15 game preview show. Special Fantasy Football Playoff Edition. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens, here with me, as they are, every Friday or Saturday sometimes. My two co-hosts, Michael Plant and Ike Bonney. What's up, my friends? How you doing?
Good.
Fantastic. I'm ready for football on Saturday. That's fun.
Hopefully it's some better football than we watched last night. Well, to be 100% honest with you, I never even crossed my mind to put that game on. And I feel a little bad because we only have so many more of these days, football days left. You know what I mean? But I really had no interest in watching whatever an Easton Stick is taking on Aiden O'Connell. That was not on my plan.
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all.
I watched like maybe a couple minutes, but I was done after that.
I was going to say you didn't have the show last night, Mike, so I figured you were watching it.
Oh, if we had the show, I would have been watching that hot mess of garbage for sure. But I'm glad it was a blessing in disguise.
I mean, yeah, should we Brandon Staley getting canned, who I think only everybody saw that coming after last night. Yeah. I see they upgraded.
I mean, we were talking about it in the Discord during the game.
Kellen Moore is stayed though, right? Because I know they fired a few other coaches.
Just the GM, GM, and then Staley.
He's probably interim head coach, I'd assume.
No, they interim the linebacker coach. I don't remember what his name was, but yeah, that's who the interim is. So that'll definitely be interesting to watch moving forward.
Let's go to Albert.
I was talking to friend Zach before the show, and is that a Harbaugh destination possibly? Hook him up with Justin Herbert there?
I was thinking Belichick myself.
Ben Johnson from the Lions.
He's another one that's a good candidate, actually.
And then they just let Kellen Moore go after the year, just 1 year.
Or they just, I totally forgot about that. Or they
I was gonna say Ben Johnson's not gonna have Kellen Moore be his OC. That wouldn't make any sense.
Or they just have Kellen Moore take the job, I guess. Finally.
That would be interesting.
I'd say those 3, 4, whatever we just said.
Yeah,
it'd be smarter to get him a defensive-minded head coach because obviously that didn't work with Staley because he just doesn't know what he's doing. But like the problem with the Chargers have been their defense.
No, I do offense. You can do a
lot. Herbert has showed to be successful with no matter what scheme he.
Yeah, good offensive coordinator mind in there. You can do a lot with that offense.
What do we think? What do we think of Antonio Pierce now? Does he maybe get the Raiders job moving forward? Because
Savage for running up the score. That's all I gotta say.
They just did a complete 180. They just lost 3-0 the week prior to that, and then they hang 63 up in this game. That's just absolute nonsense, guys.
I did like his pregame comments about keep the foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah,
because that's what you should do. I mean, I know it.
Yeah,
NFL, anything can happen. So you get points when you have the opportunity to get them. So I know they they embarrassed Staley, but I mean Staley, inspire your guys to put up a better fight. It didn't even look like your guys wanted to be there.
Well, and Antonio Pierce is trying to make a good impression. He's trying to keep the job.
True. But remember what they did with Pasacci though. So that's why it's like I'm not 100% on.
I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice. Bisaccia, they probably should, like you said, they should have just hired him, and maybe Antonio Pierce seems like a good leader of men, so I think they should. He
gives me Dan Campbell vibes.
Yeah, he's definitely good stuff. But guys, before we jump into the games for tomorrow and Sunday, just want to remind you guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed already. And then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans to become an all-access member. Small fee of $9.99 a month, everybody. You get access to our award-winning rankings, to our draft cheat sheets, and we got fantasy baseball right around the corner. They're in the heat of their off-season right now. And I know we're going to have some fantasy baseball content here coming on site and on the YouTube channel, so that'll be good to see. You get access to our F6P Discord where you get custom advice for your leagues and your playoff run, everybody. And especially your DFS builds where you get access to our F6P team. and the DFS guys, Dave Eddy, Chris Robin, Keith Fleming, all them guys do a great job. So hopefully they win you your subscription fee back within the first slate you play DFS with those guys. That would be ideal.
Use promo code FF Playoffs for a discount too as well.
Yeah, 25% off. So even cheaper, everybody. So go ahead, check that out. That's fantasysixpack.net/plans. But boys, what do you say we jump right into things? And like you said, Mike, earlier, we got some Saturday football games.
Woo!
And first one on the docket, we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Ike, told you pre-show, I'm switching questions up on you with Alexander Madison getting ruled out. Ty Chandler, I'm curious to where you're going to set him in your rankings now. Is he going to be like a top 16 guy or more so towards the top or more so like the 24-ish range with him? We'd like to think going to be taking 75% of the work share now with Madison out.
You still got to think that Nene is going to get some kind of work. I put him as a borderline RB2, 24 to 30 range. He has a shot at getting higher because he does get the targets, but I think he kind of needs a touchdown to warrant starting him against Cincinnati, new quarterback, probably with Nick Mullins. You can probably find different options, but if you're limited, he's not a bad option. He should see a decent amount of workload.
Yeah, like I saw this, like ESPN, CBS, they're projecting him for like 12, 13 fantasy points. So I think you'll take that as your running back too if you think it's going to hit. Not a great matchup against Cincinnati, but like what? There's he saw 13 carries last week, but didn't he only wasn't it for like 35 yards, 50 something yards, somewhere around there?
I think
so he definitely wasn't efficient.
A little too high of aspirations for him. I mean, he's only hit that once since he's starting getting carries and all that, he's only been an RB2 once, and that was an RB15 in week 11 against Denver. So it's risky for sure. I think, honestly, since Brian Robinson was ruled out, I saw that. I think Antonio Gibson probably provides better value.
And I saw Matthew Berry tweet out something about when Antonio Gibson gets 10 plus touches in a game, he is finished as a top 24 wide receiver or running back. So that gives Antonio Gibson a little bit of floor. We'll talk about him later. Yeah, I'm honest. I'm struggling with that in the home league right now. I have Jared.
If you asked me, I would go Antonio Gibson over Chandler now that I just saw that.
Yeah, I would do that in that situation as well. Sure. But just because Robinson's ruled out.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at the wide receivers. Let's just touch on this a little bit. Justin Jefferson is looking like he is going to play. So does that mean Jordan Addison deserves to be on the bench, guys, with the quarterback change now with Nick Mullins as the starting quarterback?
He's had 3 straight games under 10 fantasy points, 0 finishes higher than wide receiver 40. Hopefully, if you had the choice between like a Jacoby Myers or Jordan Addison, you picked Jacoby Myers over him yesterday. I don't know if you did that, but that I would have done
2020.
that. I mean, I would have done that just because I know Jacoby Myers is usually a touchdown threat, and you don't know what's going on with the Vikings right now.
Well, I got another one. Now looking at the Bengals side of things, and I'm kind of going to be stepping on Mike's question a little bit here. Would you rather play Jordan Addison or T. Higgins here?
T. Higgins.
Okay, Mike, I'll let you go now. Would you rather play Jordan Addison or T. Higgins this week?
I would actually go Jordan Addison on that one. And I was hoping you were going to, kind of hype up Addison a little bit. I know he's been rough, but man, he's still seen 19 targets the past 3 games. That's absolutely more than T. Higgins. He has 7 total in just the past 2 with Brown.
Do you expect that to keep up with the quarterback change, Mike, with Nick Mullins?
Well, and that's the thing. Like we saw with Dobbs, he's a first read run when the pocket breaks down. So it cuts down on the amount of targets just overall in the offense, where Nick Mullins does not have that same athletic ability. So Nick Mullins, we've seen in past, he is a pocket passer. So like I do see a viable situation here where Addison could be better than Higgins because of that switch at QB, because Mullins is more your prototypical pocket passer, where Dobbs is first read, all right, breaking down, run to go get yards. I mean, when he was starting in the league, he was second in rushing yards behind Hurts. Or no, not Hurts, my bad, Lamar Jackson. Okay. So, like, Dobbs
but
is a rushing
Jefferson's
quarterback.
back though, so
yeah. And you said the
Still
last
19
games,
targets.
Jefferson was back just for the last one. It got knocked
Jefferson
out.
was gone all those games, and he played like five minutes of the last one. So
right, yeah, that's why.
And I don't believe in Nick Mullins absolutely one bit. I think Joshua Dobbs is better than him, but
you believe in Jake Browning more than Nick Mullins?
Absolutely.
So?
Absolutely.
I just believe in the weapons more for Jake Browning, not necessarily Browning more than Nick Mullins.
Jake Browning's proven it. He's had back-to-back quarterback, I think, top 10s.
Nick Mullins has been in the league before as a backup and actually has come in and gave serviceable games. Like, he just has more experience.
Football, for fantasy, probably not.
I'm just saying Nick Mullins is going to pass it more. You know what I mean? And especially if they can't run the ball. I mean, Dobbs usually tries to alleviate that with his run game, but Nick Mullins can't do that.
Vikings defense is so much worse than Cincy's. You can pass against the Vikings.
I mean, that's debatable.
Well.
That's debatable because the Vikings defense, when they've played like a rookie quarterback or like just an overall not good quarterback, they've been all right. But as soon as they play somebody who's actually somewhat elite like Herbert, they get destroyed. And I mean, do you consider Jake Browning elite?
No, but this is probably going to be a pretty low-scoring game. Either way.
Yeah. As low as that 3-0 game?
LaPlante, just to touch on T. Higgins, give me 20 seconds on it. Ike, I see you on the site. You have him as your wide receiver 36, so you have him as a borderline wide receiver 3 this week. Mike, do you have him any higher than that or no?
I mean, he finished wide receiver 38 last week, and he was saved by a 46-yard catch. Otherwise, man, he'd probably be in the 50s, 60s. So I'd probably have him more like in 40, 38 to that 40 range again. Just because I question Jake Browning against Brian Flores' defense because he sends blitz packages that rookies and not elite quarterbacks can't pick up that well. So, I mean, that's what I'm worried about with Browning.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Are we giving Chase Brown any looks here after what we saw last week?
No,
he's really just a third down back.
Yeah, and he took the one long screen there, the screen pass. He took it for a touchdown, which is nice. 22 miles an hour. Yeah, I saw that. 22 miles an hour Chase Brown got up to. Would have thought he had that speed, Ike, after watching him at LA. That surprised me a little bit there. But looking at the next game, the second Saturday game, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Ike, the Steelers offense got a lot of names in it, man. So I asked, give me 2 guys from this offense who are you locking in for your playoff matchup and why?
Like absolutely locking in?
So you're telling me you don't have 2 guys on this offense that you want to start this week is what you're saying.
Maybe Deontay. Like, that'd be the one I'd want to start.
What about Najee Harris, Jalen Warren? Like, come on, guys.
In Superflex leagues.
No, Najee was a little beat up.
I don't even want you to tell me Mitch in Superflex leagues. Why would you do that?
He was quarterback last week. Name it.
That's because it was terrible last week.
24 other quarterbacks you play over him right now.
Might take a while, Jesus. No, we don't want to do that. I mean, honestly, I get why Najee Harris is appealing. It's appealing, Najee Harris, but he was a little banged up, so I'd probably lean more Jalen Warren because the Colts do allow more points to running backs than wide receivers.
And Jalen Warren's been struggling lately, so I mean, at least Deontay Johnson's caught a touchdown here and there. So if I had to choose, it's Deontay and Jalen Warren. I'll go Pat Freiermuth. That's what I'll do. Fuck it. Tight ends are so bad. He's gonna get some targets. Let's go with him.
All right. I guess that was a terrible question, and I gave me a terrible answer, so that's fair. But let's answer Malcolm's question. Maybe his is a little better. Pick one: Puka, Jefferson, Mike Evans, Devontae.
I'm not sure what that other Evans is.
I think that might be a typo, but Puka, you can only pick one. What do you mean you can only pick one?
That's not fair. I mean, if you can only pick one, I kind of want to lean Puka on this one just because they have such a good matchup.
What about the Packers' bum ass secondary, Michael?
I'm gonna go Jefferson.
Whoa! It's not bum.
No, I can't go Jefferson. Fuck, I don't know. Why are there two Evans?
It's Puka for me. Number 2 best matchup for wide receivers. Jefferson's banged up. Mike Evans deals with Chris Godwin's.
I'll agree with Atlanta. Fuck it.
I said I made pick 3.
Okay, that makes it a lot easier. You're trying to get us to start a fight between us, Malcolm, by telling us to pick one out of those.
Who's the other Evans then?
It's Puka and Evans for sure.
Pick 3. Yeah, Puka, Jefferson.
It's all of them except for the doppelganger Evans.
But who's Devontae? Devontae Adams already played.
I think it's Devontae Smith.
It's Devontae Smith.
But the double Evans.
Puka, Jefferson, and Evan. God damn it. I get it now. All right.
It's Puka, Jefferson, and Evans.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
You said Mike Evans and Devontae Smith.
All right, fair enough. Let's get on to the next one.
It's Puka, Jefferson, and Evans, Malcolm.
I get
This is next one, Dylan. Go ahead.
Ritter, Flacco, Mills, Levis, Mullins, DeVito. Pick one of the quarterbacks here. What are you guys thinking? Atlanta gets Carolina.
How do you not go Flacco?
Don't do Ritter.
Are you worried about the offense at all? Or the Bears defense at all, Mike, in that with Flacco being out, both his tackles, his centers out as well?
Who Giants play?
Yes.
Giants play. The Saints. Not ideal.
No, definitely not ideal.
I'm going. Shit.
I would smash Flacco here, but the matchup makes me nervous, and his offensive line is.
I go Flacco.
Just banged up. It's not a bad idea either.
I want to leave us.
I don't hate
him before, and
I don't hate the idea of Ritter either. Like, he's got a decent rushing floor. I feel he finished just as a top 10 quarterback just recently, I believe, as well. So I don't hate that. But yeah, we didn't really.
Let's go Flacco.
But I guess Flacco, but I don't absolutely love it. But looking at the Colts side of things, Mike, jumping back into our questions, we were all in on Zach Moss. We thought that he was going to be a smash guy, just plug it right in for Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's out once again this week. Zach Moss hasn't been good the last couple weeks, unfortunately. Can you trust him in this matchup against the Steelers?
I mean, you're trusting the workload, but I don't know if you're trusting him because he has been rough the past couple weeks. Week 13, RB27, last week, RB29. But, I mean, in those last 2 games, he's averaging 19 touches a game, all right? And then in that, he's tied for 9th in RB targets the past 2 weeks with 11. So, like, he's just based alone on volume and RB2. So you're at least playing him, with that. Because, I mean, let's be real. RBs in the beginning of the year, they were not very good. And Zach Moss capitalized on that, having some, top 5, top 10 finishes. But now that, the weather's starting to get colder, running backs are starting to become a little bit more valuable to the offenses. So we're starting to see running backs pick up in those points per game. So, like, because of that, I think Zach Moss is more like a high-end RB2, more of that than like a low-end RB1. But he is getting 19 touches a game. You can't sit that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Zach Moss still has to be locked in to your RB2 spot. Trying to pull up to see where Ike has him ranked.
Good, Joe.
Week. Ike still has him as RB15, so Ike still got faith in him.
That's high end RB2.
I think that's right. Mike, you want to pull up the next question? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming here, challengers. He's got one here, pick one RB and one flex PPR. He's got Montgomery, Elliott, and Flowers. That one I'm sitting Monty.
I'm going Zeke. I think kind of Odell, we'll talk about later, is kind of taken over as the wide receiver group over Zay a little bit. I go Elliott and Monty.
But yeah, Zay Jones is still outscoring him.
Zay Flowers.
That's what I meant. Zay Flowers still.
He's snapping him too by quite a bit.
So like it's Zay Flowers and Elliott, because Elliott don't have to deal with really anybody. Monty's got to deal with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like Monty may get a touchdown, but that touchdown is going to make your week pretty much for him. He's not getting any of the passing work. Zay Flowers
is in. I think Monty has a better chance of scoring than Zay.
Baltimore gets Jacksonville, really good matchup for receivers, so I'm not shying away from Zay Flowers here.
Oh yeah, you would start him.
And then I actually lead Montgomery over Zeke.
Really?
Unless really the only thing you're banking on with Zeke is the PPR work because they're playing Kansas City.
It's PPR.
It's PPR.
It's PPR, which Monty don't get any of it. So it's Elliott and Flowers.
That's not true. That's not true though.
You just don't want to say it because you're such a Ramondre believer.
He's not even playing. That doesn't have anything to do with it here, man.
But if Elliott looks good, Ramondre doesn't look as good because it looks like the system made him, not Ramondre.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Everybody knows that.
He's over here. Everybody knows that already.
Yeah, I'm still going Monty and Flowers here.
How? Oh, my gosh.
I appreciate it.
Don't listen to those two fools.
Questions.
Wait, no. Ike, did you say Monty too?
I said Monty and Zeke.
Yeah, don't listen to him either.
Next game we got here, the Denver Broncos taking on the Detroit Lions. Ike, is Courtland Sutton about to go crazy on this Detroit Lions secondary, which, let's be real, they're probably second in allowing most fantasy points to wide receiver ones in opposing offenses. Sure feels like it to me anyways.
I'm not really sure what you mean by crazy. Like, I don't know how many points that entails, but
23.
You could just say 20 plus.
It's possible for him to get there. I mean, he's legit scoring an incredible rate, 10 touchdowns in 13 games. He's been wide receiver 2 or better in 4 of his last 5. He's got to be in your starting lineups. So crazy, maybe not, but he's definitely starting for sure for you.
He's touchdown dependent. They just don't throw that much.
But the good thing about him being touchdown dependent
is when they score, it's him.
He scores touchdowns. That's the best part. Courtland Sutton's someone who's locked into your lineups this week. Absolutely. Agreed. Correct. Mike, can we agree on that?
Unfortunately, I hate saying it, but yeah, Jerry Jeudy's a bum. He can't even catch the ball anymore. I was
going to say, why
knows that.
Why do you hate saying it for Courtland Sutton?
Because they just don't pass the ball that much. So, like, if he doesn't get that touchdown, which, I mean, touchdowns are so hard to predict. All right, if he doesn't get that touchdown, man, he's gonna be a wide receiver 40 or worse.
Yeah, that's fair. Ike, you got you dig Javonte Williams this week? You're feeling comfortable with him?
He's an RB2.
Fair enough. You have him as RB20, so you're all right with him. Mike, jumping over to the Lions side of things. Bears defense. Put Jared Goff in a pretzel. Do you expect him to bounce back here against Denver Broncos defense, who, as of late, has been playing better?
He's also at home.
He's back at home. You're muted. $1 in the jar.
I was getting another beer, and I don't want to be annoying. Opening the cooler and all that, so I guess I'm just gonna. But
that was a good.
He's a QB2 this week because with the not the QB2, like a QB2 for this week with the matchup and no buys. So the past 3 games, the Broncos defense have held their opposing quarterbacks to an average of 11.8 fantasy points, and they're 17th on the year for toughest matchup for QBs, allowing 16.4 So, like, I really don't think it's going to be a great game, even though he is at home. I mean, wasn't this past game against the Bears? I mean, that was at Chicago, and, they won. That's cool. And they did put them in a pretzel. But what was it, two weeks before that, they played in Detroit, and they still made Jared Goff look bad at home. So I think the Denver Broncos can do it again. So, like, I'm, 10-team leagues, 12-team leagues. I'm not starting Jared Goff, but Superflex league, sure.
Yeah, these are two teams that are trending in opposite directions right now. Like, Detroit's trying to stop the train from getting off the tracks while Denver's starting to play the best football. I know they lost recently, but I feel, they're still trending in the right direction here. Mike, you like Jahmyr Gibbs over Monty this week too? That I heard you. Okay. That's definitely fair too. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously locked in, even though after a disappointing week last week, it was a weird game for that whole Lions offense. Definitely interesting. Definitely will be interesting to see if they bounce back as well. Guys, now we're jumping into our Sunday games. Our first one here, just a slobber knocker of a matchup in the NFC South. We got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. Ike, is what we saw from Kyle Pitts and Drake London last week sustainable? I mean, obviously London's not going to probably score 30-something points again, but maybe, let's say, wide receiver 2 range-ish.
I'd say if you can put him at wide receiver 3, he's locked in for sure. Kyle Pitts, on the other hand, has back-to-back tight end 1 finishes, so it's been enough up and down year for him.
Let's go, baby.
Maybe he's back on a roll, so he can go in your lineups too. You gotta take the punches for the most part. You drafted him to be your tight end 1. You don't really have many other options unless you got like an Njoku off the waiver wire, whatever, or Ferguson, whatever, players like that. But yeah, roll him out there, be fine. Obviously, you're going Bijan too.
Do you think it could be a possibility? Because we got to remember Kyle Pitts tore his MCL last year. Is it just a possibility? Maybe he just wasn't healthy until 100% healthy until recently? Or is it still all Arthur Smith's fault?
I think it can be a mix. I think they're starting to figure out how to use him more, and that could be because he's finally getting healthy. They put him out wide a few times, and he had that deep catch. So I think they're starting to finally figure out that, hey, we have to use our weapons if we want to win.
Just wait till this week until Arthur Smith decides, nope, we're going to go back to the same old shenanigans.
Oh, well, I could absolutely see them running the ball a ton in this one, to be honest with you.
Great matchup.
Carolina, just to escape with a win like 16-10 or something silly like that. So this could be a grinded out ugly game. Mike, looking at the Panthers side of things, Hubbard getting a ton of volume, Thielen doing Adam Thielen things. Are these two locked into your lineup this week?
Hubbard is. Past 3 games, he's getting 23 touches a game. That's only behind Kyron Williams at 24.7. And he's averaging 18 fantasy points a game in that stretch, which, like I told you, RB scoring is up now that the weather's gone down. And that's only RB 12. So, I mean, technically still an RB1 in the past 3 games. So that does make him a lineup lock, although you are going to temper your expectations because Falcons are the 3rd toughest matchup and have only allowed 5 rushing touchdowns to, just any NFL team, 2nd best behind the Ravens, who've allowed 4. Thielen, though, 3rd straight week where he has been out-targeted by his own teammate, Jonathan Mingo, which I just didn't think would be possible. Unless Thielen was injured, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get. But he's only getting about 5 targets a game the past 3. So if you have another option, probably go that route, most likely.
Would you rather play Drake London or Adam Thielen this week?
I mean, Drake London. I want a little bit more of upside there because, I mean, Drake London and Adam Thielen are both probably averaging about 5 targets a game. Give me the guy who can break it for a bigger gain.
London feels much, much sexier than Adam.
He also feels safer at this point because Bryce Young is just running for his goddamn life behind that
safer. I don't think so, but yeah, I get it. But I would probably go London as well. I clean sweep that there.
Yeah.
All right.
We do have a question.
Yep. Desperation running back after losing Jacobs for the week. Chris Rodriguez, Tyler Algier, Miles Sanders, full PPR. That's tight and perfect. We're talking about this game. I'm actually going to go Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
Talked about it a little bit earlier that this could be just a run it type of game for this Atlanta Falcons offense. So maybe he gets 8 to 10 carries. Maybe he finds the end zone to get you 10 to 12 fantasy points there.
Literally all these are hope for a touchdown. With Brian Robinson out, I think Chris Rodriguez could see 8 to 10 carries. He'll probably be used around goal line if they get there. That'll be my pick.
And Ike, you are wrong on this one because the answer is Tyler Algier. Last time Tyler Algier played Carolina, he was an RB4. No, granted, week 1 of the season.
That was
but still,
first fucking game, and it's like, you know what?
The Panthers are a team that the Panthers are a team that both running backs can score a touchdown against.
I mean, I don't blame you for picking them. I just don't like it. I don't like any of them, to be honest, but sure, go for it.
He's proven himself, where Miles Sanders and Chris Rodriguez right now have not really proven much.
Next one from Julian. We got Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford, Adam Thielen, Hollywood Brown, Chris Godwin, or James Conner. Choosing 2.
Javonte Ford.
I think that's the right answer.
You like Ford against the Bears run defense right now?
No, that's the wrong answer.
He at least gets targets.
I kind of like, don't get me wrong, I'm actually looking at Connor here, which he's going to get probably more volume than Ford. But
plays San Francisco.
Yeah.
Let me finish, God damn it. I was going to say the matchup's even tougher. But he still gets passing work where Kareem Hunt eats into Ford's passing work. So
yeah, that's fine, but San Francisco doesn't give up passes to the running back. So there goes that.
Well, where'd you hear that from?
Stats.
I hate you so much right now.
Stats.
I lean Connor.
If anything, you can go, if you're wanting to target that game, go Hollywood Brown, because you can actually target him through the air now since Tua Lanoya is gone and Charvarius Ward is banged up.
That's why it surprised me. I was looking at your rankings. Pretty sure you had Kyler wide or quarterback 14, Ike. So
Kyler?
We're going to talk about that a little bit when we get there.
It's probably because he's not very good.
It's probably because you got to move him up. Next game. We got.
I'm with Dylan on this one.
Let me just look at who's ahead of him just to be like, all right, yeah, no.
We'll talk about when we get there. We're not there yet. This next game we got the Chicago Bears taking on the Cleveland Browns. Ike, the most intriguing thing coming out of the bye week for the Bears was who was going to lead this running back room. The answer was Deontay Foreman after being a healthy scratch earlier in the season when everybody was healthy. Is he now someone we need to pay attention to this week? Is he in the realm of streaming RB2s with the likes of Antonio Gibson, Ty Chandler, those type of guys?
The 2 you named after him, I would start over him. I would like to see another week just because Khalil Herbert is healthy and maybe they've been trying to work him slowly back into starting position. I still think that's his job when he comes back. So, again, I'd like to see another week before you dive right in. If you choose between him or Chuba Hubbard or whoever you said, I'd go them over him.
If you were in a pinch and you have Khalil Herbert on your roster and let's say Antonio Gibson, the other guy said I'm blanking now. If they're out on free agency, would you drop Herbert if you had to go there?
Yep. Herbert was on if I believe he was on the bubble for my drop list. I wanted to see another week, see if he actually is going to get more work. But yeah, I would do that instantly.
12 snaps from Herbert last week.
Someone who we're going to talk about a little bit later. Deontay Foreman or Tajay Spears?
Tajay.
I think I would actually lean Foreman here because if the Bears want to win this game, they're going to have to do it on the ground.
I lean Foreman on that one as well.
Browns are really tough on the ground, though, too. I don't know, man. This game's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Maybe just
you play for him and you're hoping for a touchdown here, and he's getting double-digit-ish carries. So it's definitely not bad. But then you're rolling out Cole Kmet probably.
Yeah,
been pretty solid as of late. You roll it out. DJ Moore sounds like he's good to go, even though he's dealing with the ankle injury.
That's about it.
Temper expectations for DJ Moore and Justin Fields. Like, guys, I've had to answer this a couple questions this week. Like, would you rather play Justin Fields in this matchup, or would you rather play Kyler against the 49ers?
Kyler.
I have faith in Justin Fields. San Francisco's been playing well lately, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Kyler.
That's definitely fair. Mike,
why? Why though?
When we talk about the Cardinals, I'll tell you why.
All right,
fair enough.
Nice, sweet segue. But right now we're talking to the Browns. Mike, should David Njoku be a top 5 tight end this week and rest of the season with Mr. Joe Flacco?
Unfortunately, not. He's top 10, but he's not a top 5.
Oh,
those two touchdowns gave him his second top 5 finish of the year. All right, and last week he was with Flacco and he finished tight end 28. So no, he did what all tight ends do, and he had a boom week because he had 2 touchdowns. He only saw 8 targets, which is great for a tight end, but those 2 touchdowns boosted him to his second top 5 finish of the year. So no, he's not a top 5, but he is top 10. So you're starting him because 8 or 10 team leagues, you're still starting him.
Ike has him as tight end 7, so Ike's kind of in the same boat as you are here. What about Amari Cooper? Are we trusting him in this matchup? Jalen Johnson, man, is probably going to be on him most of the game. He's been pretty dang good as of late. I saw his PFS highest rated cornerback.
So last week, 3 wide receivers had 14 targets. Garrett Wilson, Zay Jones, and the only reason I'm bringing this up, Amari Cooper. So I trust Amari Cooper, and you can trust Amari Cooper is the number 1 target in this offense with Joe Flacco at the helm. He's going to get you 10 plus targets most likely if the Browns need to throw, because we know if they don't need to throw, they are happily, satisfied just handing the ball off to Kareem Hunt or Jerome Ford. So in a game where if you think he's got to throw, he's going to see 10 plus targets, but I don't trust him to be anything more than a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. And in a matchup like this, where we kind of think it's going to be more of a slog fest, he's probably more wide receiver 3 flex territory for you. Just a high floor because he gets, if he gets, 8 to 10 targets, that's wide receiver 2 targets, but it's just, he's not doing much with them.
Would you rather play Amari Cooper or Drake London this week?
Amari Cooper.
Ike?
Drake London.
I think I'm tired of agreeing with Michael Plant tonight. It's weird too, but I think I actually lean Amari Cooper slightly. Even though
it's close.
You're so good though right now, and you're whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
He's getting Jalen Johnson.
I know it's definitely not ideal,
and
but the
you
Bears
literally
also
posted the thing on Jalen Johnson, who has.
I know. I just said it too.
2 of the only guys who have a 90+ coverage rating. So I don't know why you said that, but whatever.
It's him and Sauce, man. They're friggin' really good. But Bears also don't shadow, so he could get some Tyreek Stevenson some as well, which we've seen Tyreek get beat quite a bit this year.
Sauce shadows. That's the difference. So they'll probably move Amari Cooper around.
No, they never do.
What do you mean?
When have you seen him go in the slot?
Who?
Amari Cooper.
Well, is Jalen Johnson going to follow him from each side of the field, even if he is just playing?
He does. He does. They usually do that. He does.
Exactly my point. They're going to put Amari Cooper on the opposite side of the field. Some plays where Jalen Johnson won't be covering him.
We do got another question here, though, guys, from Jamie.
Crazy.
Said it's this girl as it starts. He doesn't. He's putting it on us pretty much. He doesn't want her to be mad at him. So start 2 full PPR 4-point passing touchdown. Zeke, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, Bailey Zappi.
You have to play quarterback.
You always
play the quarterback. No.
When the other 2 options are Deontay and Amari Cooper, yeah.
not when your quarterback options Bailey Zappi. That's my point. That you don't have to start the quarterback.
But I would when your other two options are Deontay and Amari Cooper, who is playing against the Bears. Who I think Jalen Johnson's going to lock down Amari, and Deontay is good for a touchdown. Who's got Trubisky thrown to him, and that way you got Zappi in a stack with Zeke just in case a receiving touchdown happens. Which he got 7 targets and 7 catches last week.
I don't hate it, but they are playing the Chiefs defense.
It's Zappy Zeke.
JB said, but yeah, I think
it's hard. I get it.
Love it. Yeah, I just don't like telling people that you have to play the quarterback in the Superflex because there's been a couple times this year where I have it where I've played like a Nico Collins over Derek Carr because
Nico Collins. That's Nico Collins. Yeah,
of course.
That's not Deontay Johnson or Amari Cooper right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Next game here, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Ike, with all the QB problems this week, what do you think about Baker?
He's a solid super flex option. He's had one quarterback, one finish in his last 4 games. Take with that what you will. There's a few quarterbacks I would like over him. Kyler Murray, we have discussed. I would also take Jake Browning over him, Justin Fields over him, Jared Goff. Pretty much name it. I wouldn't say name it, but
yeah, you have him as QB set. You have him as QB 17.
I thought it was 16 or 17.
Yeah, you have him over Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco, Will Levis, Tom. Derek Carr. That's fair. Totally fair. You got like Jake Browning, Kyler, Trevor Lawrence ahead of him. Yeah, that's definitely fair.
I'm a Browning believer.
And we kind of got a read earlier.
Why can you not? Look what he's done.
Yeah, the weapons and stuff too. Yeah,
it's the weapons. Yeah.
That. Yeah. And then you're starting Rachaad White. That just been a model of consistency as of late. Mike Evans, awesome. Kate Otten, touchdown dependent, and we've seen his floor. It's 0, so play him as
it's a trap floor.
At your own risk.
yeah, definitely. Chris Godwin, up and down most of the season. Definitely more down here.
Yep.
Do we like the matchup here, or is this going to be more just a Mike Evans, Rachaad White type of game?
More Rachaad White.
I agree.
And if there's a big touchdown, it's obviously Mike Evans over Chris Godwin.
Yeah, that's for sure. Looking at the Green Bay Packers side of things, Mike, resident Packer fan, Jaden Reed gets carries, but I'm a little bit worried. Are the carries going to stop now if Aaron Jones returns? And AJ Dillon also broke his thumb. So what are we going to see here? Do you have Jaden Reed locked into lineups? I know I've just threw like 6 different questions at you. Go with it. Whatever way you want. I'm sure the audience doesn't care.
Yeah, I know you know. So if AJ Dillon can't go with this broken thumb, Reed is a lock for me. He should be, if you're in a 3 wide receiver league, he should be in one of those 3 spots. And, if it's 2 wide receiver and a flex, he should be in your flex. But if AJ Dillon does go, then I temper my expectations on Jaden Reed. Just because, like, in the past 3 games, all right, when we've had this injury to a starting running back in the Packers lineup, and AJ Dillon's been there, all right, he's been 24th in targets for wide receivers, and he's the only other wide receiver that has, basically the only other wide receiver that has more rushing attempts than him is Deebo Samuel in that stretch. Samuel's got 8 for 38 yards and 3 touchdowns, where Jaden Reed actually has more rushing yards on less attempts, but just less touchdowns, 6 for 54 and 1 touchdown. And he's averaging 13.7 in that stretch, which is wide receiver 31. So if Dillon doesn't play, yes, he should be locked into lineups. But if he's out, if Dillon actually does play, you can maybe go find somebody else for Reed.
Yeah, that's definitely fair there as well.
Angelo, Godwin is a bum.
He's been a disappointment this year, that's for sure. Next game we got the New York Jets taking on the Miami Dolphins. Ike, Zach Wilson it's so 2023 what we saw last week. Him outscoring. I know CJ Stroud got hurt, but Zach Wilson was outplaying him and outscoring him that entire game, which is wild to see after him getting benched and then coming back.
Even when he was healthy, he was still getting outplayed.
Yeah. Do you think the momentum that Zach Wilson built up last week will carry over into this matchup against the Dolphins and help out his weapons once again?
First off, I gotta say, how about that? 3 of his wins are against Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and then CJ Stroud. Kind of weird to think about, but man, such a good matchup. But this is Zach Wilson. This is at any point he could turn into what we all expect him to be, which is a dude who completes 50+%, maybe 55% of his passes, throws a couple picks. So trusting him in his game is rough. Again, I would play Baker over him. I'd play Jake Browning over him.
Jordan Love.
Ritter. Did you say Jared Goff?
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Jordan Love's
he had a bum week last week. He had a bum week last week.
That's fine.
That's fine.
It's the Giants.
he has a good matchup. But yeah, he's hard to trust.
Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, you trusting them now?
Yes. They should be in your starting lineup every time. I don't know why that they shouldn't even be a question anymore. Garrett Wilson, even with the bad quarterback play, still sees enough volume to be like, man, I can't take him out because he's still getting 10 targets or whatever plus and can take one to the distance at any point.
100%.
There's nobody else worth throwing the ball to behind Garrett Wilson.
Bingo.
Other than Breece Hall. It's those two are bust.
Yep. Yes, it is. Mike, looking at the Dolphins side of things, and this offense struggled a little bit against Tennessee with Tyreek Hill getting hampered with the ankle injury. Sounds like he's going to go, but maybe he's a decoy like you guys always like to bring up. Is this finally the week we see Waddle break out? And if he's on any playoff rosters, maybe help them win their week after disappointing most of the season.
Well, he's still getting 8 targets a game the past 3. He just hasn't scored a touchdown since week 8 against the Patriots. And I mean, I wouldn't say he needs to break out. Like he's still been, all right.
He needs to break out, Mike, because where you drafted, he's been all right. But you need to get at some point have a fucking boom week, man.
I get that. I understand that, but you got Tyreek Hill soaking up all of it.
I know.
When it is there. But, like, by your standards, he needs basically a touchdown to break out. All right. When he scores a touchdown this year, which has only been 3 times, he's been a top 20 wide receiver. And there's only one other time Waddle has finished in the top 20 for wide receivers without a touchdown. And guess what? It was week 12 against the Jets, where he had 8 receptions for 114 yards. So he was wide receiver 16 that week. Maybe it happens again this week, and we get that touchdown you want. So we get that breakout you're so desperately wanting, because it sounds like you own Waddle everywhere.
I do.
I have him in a few.
Yeah, definitely do. And one I played against Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers both in one lineup in a playoff matchup. So it would be nice to see Jalen Waddle at least match one of those guys' productions. 20-something points. But
I don't think Tyreek
Hill out. It's possible.
I don't think he's going to be a decoy, and I don't think he's going to be out either.
He's questionable.
I think he still plays. They're just resting him, giving him the veteran, treatment type of deal. And Tyreek Hill willingly knows he wants that 2K, and he's going to play and try to not be a decoy.
He can want that 2K all he wants, but if his ankle doesn't want him to have that 2K, it's going to happen.
I was reading one of the Twitter doctors, whether it's Jesse Morris or somebody else, and he was talking Tyreek Hill's straight line speed is not going to be in question. It's everything he tries to move side to side, and if his ankle's going to be able to hold up, man, because those are quick cuts that little guy makes, and it's a lot of torque on his.
But I'm just saying, I don't think he's going to be the decoy. Maybe they use Waddle more in the Tyreek Hill role where he's doing the quick cuts inside, and they use Tyreek Hill just go deep because he can easily go deep until he looks at him first read. All right, bye.
agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Mike, if Achane's a go, and he's dealing with some turf toe, and I feel it's going to hamper a quick guy like that. But if he is a go against the Jets, is he still a top 24 guy?
Yeah.
You know, okay.
Sam Mostert. I keep seeing that it's going to be raining.
He's not healthy.
Well, healthy enough to start.
Yes, healthy enough to go. You're playing him?
Yeah.
All right. Definitely fair, man. Looking at the next game, New York Giants taking on the New Orleans Saints. Ike, with Tommy Cutlets throwing the ball all over the field. Wan'Dale Robinson mostly. Is that the one pass catcher we could trust in this offense? I feel like I'm asking you a different pass catcher every single week.
I really want to have a little rant here like I had with you guys in the group chat. Why did Tommy DeVito win the Offensive Player of the Week this week?
The storyline.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you should.
I don't give a shit. Brock Purdy had a perfect game, pretty much, with the passer rating. Had more yards. Don't matter. I don't understand, but go on. Tommy DeVito.
I agree. He did. There were definitely.
Honestly, that's a better conversation than what we're about to have, because literally the only person you want to start from this team is Saquon Barkley, and DeVito in Superflex leagues has some intrigue just because he can rush the ball. He had 70+ rush yards. But Wan'Dale, other than last week, has basically been irrelevant. Not enough to start in such a big week for playoffs, your first round. So no, I would not do it.
Yeah. What about a possible return from Darren Waller here? If you still have him on your roster, are you just taking him off IR, plugging him right in, or if he's a go? I saw that. That's funny.
Hopefully at this point you found an option that you can trust this week just to see what Darren Waller can do. Right? So I'd wait a week just to see what maybe DeVito will target him a lot, but we don't know right now.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you picked up like a Trey McBride to replace Waller.
Yeah.
You didn't trade him for a sack of potatoes in the league.
And Joker could have been on the wire at one point when you lost Waller. There's a few guys you forgot.
I traded your brother in the American Raz League, Dylan, Darren Waller, to get Damian Pierce. That didn't fucking work out at all. But I'd managed to pick up Trey McBride, so I'm like, hey, you're like speaking to me over here. Nice. I traded Waller for a sack of potatoes, but I got McBride at least.
You remember what I traded Trey McBride for?
No, I don't.
No.
Tyler Algier. We'll just move on.
Oh, you idiot. I remember you trading for Algier, and I was like, why did you do that?
hey, I missed that one.
Well, no shit. I pressed you to go get another running back, and you're like, I'll just go get Algier.
Okay. Looking at the Saints side of things, guys. Is Derek Carr sucking? Worry you, Mike, for Chris Olave's production?
He still scores touchdowns.
I saw his offensive lineman wanted to beat Derek Carr up on something.
He bought I saw a thing that he bought his offensive line some Christmas gifts and all that. So maybe it, even.
Please don't beat me up.
That was in the Christmas card.
But since Michael Thomas went on IR in Week 12, Olave is 26th in targets for wide receivers, and there's only 7 wide receivers with more receiving yards in that 3-game stretch. So basically, he's getting 5 receptions for 87 receiving yards on average in those games. So a really good floor because he can do so much after the catch, even if he can't get, even if he is the wide receiver with the most unrealized air yards out there, if he gets the ball, he can still do something with it. Yeah. So it's a good floor, but there's absolutely zero ceiling here because the Saints just don't score touchdowns. All right, they're 16th in passing touchdowns, which is 21st in the NFL, and then they're 11th in they have 11 rushing touchdowns, which is 17th in the NFL. So they're like bottom half in both rushing and passing touchdowns. They just don't score, so there's really not much of a ceiling here.
Does the return of Shaheed? Yeah, Rashid Shaheed.
No, actually, if anything, I think it helps him because Rashid Shaheed's going to be running the deep routes where now Olave's got to run the underneath routes.
Sure. Yeah, no, I hear that. And Jamie, that's exactly what that means, my friend.
Yep, that's the NFL.
Yes. Tommy DeVito is much better than Patrick Mahomes.
Transitive property by the NFL.
The Italian Stallion.
Italian Stallion, Tommy Cutlets. Next game here, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Davis Mills-led Houston Texans, who are going to be without Nico Collins. They're obviously without Tank Dell. Ike, are there any players on this offense?
They got Dalton Schultz back this week.
That you are confident in starting with pencil neck Davis Mills at the helm?
I am so going to make this quick so I can move this along. No.
Not even Schultz, huh?
Schultz, I guess you can throw a dart throw in just because tight end sucks. But no, you don't even want to do that. Yeah, just please don't.
Play the guy, whoever you picked up ahead of Dalton Schultz.
Yes.
It was Brevin Jordan.
Shout out to Pete.
Shout out to Pete. I did it in a league as well.
Cade Otton or Dalton Schultz.
I mean, they honestly could both get you 0. Which
I agree. And they could both get you a touchdown so
I'd probably lean Schultz slightly.
We can move on.
We can move on. All right, Mike. You teased it earlier when we were talking about Tajay Spears. Sounds like you like him a bit after the usage he's starting to get as of late. They're starting to use him in different things as well. But is he a plug and play RB2 this week, or are you still
He's plug and play for sure, but I mean he's game script dependent. He's tied for RB31 the past 3 games with 10.8 fantasy points per game, but he's being 100% held up by the targets. Tied for 4th amongst RBs with 17 in the past 3 games. And last game, only Hopkins had more targets than him in that, historical comeback that Will Levis led. But, realistically, only Hopkins had more targets, which I just don't think is sustainable. So, he is a game script dependent RB2. And it's just if they're down in a game, yes, you can plug and play Tajay Spears. But in a game where they don't even have CJ Stroud and it's Davis Mills, it's going to be a Derrick Henry game. So I don't think they're really going to need to lean on Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It would be nice to see Tajay have another good week. I would like to see it. I just don't know if it'll happen. I'm kind of with you there. The next game we have, before we jump into the afternoon games, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the New England Patriots. This game was the Monday night game, guys, or the Sunday night game. I don't know if you noticed that it got flexed out, but what I was doing this
I did not notice.
I had to swap some things around, and
I did remember seeing that.
Who's the Monday? Oh, wow, damn it. All right.
It's a little bit better, right? It's the Seahawks and
Seahawks, Eagles.
Yeah, it's a little better, but you still might be seeing Drew Lock. But the Kansas City Chiefs taking on New England. I think I said that already. CEH, Mike, or Jerick McKinnon moving forward, and this week with Isaiah Pacheco likely out, or he already is out?
Pretty sure he is out, but it's McKinnon over CEH. Pretty much this is what we've come to expect around the fantasy playoff time for the past 2 years. It's been McKinnon just randomly coming alive around week 13 so he can catch 5 balls, a touchdown, and score another touchdown on the run. Happened to me in the playoffs because of you. It's going to happen to other people if you didn't pick him up. So just expect the worst, man. It is what it is.
It is.
I would be starting him as an RB2, at least as a flex option if you're struggling.
Yep. CEH outsnapped him 32-30. He outtouched him 13-7. But it doesn't
matter. Like you said, McKinnon gets the high priority touches, man.
Mike, do you want to push back at all? Because I know you were the opposite last week. And if you want to push back, go ahead.
I honestly only think this argument works because the Chiefs' offense is so fucking atrocious right now. If they were scoring more points, CEH would be viable because he'd be getting more volume and he would get more. There's more opportunity for high end, touches and that at that point. But because their offense is struggling so much, they're going to trust the guys they trust, and it's Jerick McKinnon.
Yep.
Right on.
It's just, man, you can't trust McKinnon because he doesn't get that touchdown. Sorry, and realistically, the Chiefs are not scoring many touchdowns.
Let's touch on this comment from Angelo. I'm benching Mahomes. I already had Purdy, but I added Stafford. I keep switching Purdy and Stafford in my lineup to F with the opponent. He started the Chargers D. Oh, God.
Mahomes has been lucky to scratch a quarterback one in the past few weeks. I mean, he's maybe gotten it one in the past 4 or 5. Purdy has been fantastic. Stafford's got a good matchup, so I don't think you can miss with either one.
Yeah, I know you didn't ask who you would play, but I am okay sitting Mahomes here myself as well.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I do kind of leave Stafford in that one a little bit, just because I do like that matchup. And
I think I have Stafford top 8.
Stafford owned the Ravens last week, and they were supposed to be really good against QB. So, yeah.
Then Angelo said he's debating whether to start Rashid Rice or Jaden Reed. I would start Jaden Reed. That one's Reed for me, actually. I
would actually start Jaden Reed. He's been pretty solid lately. That's
Rice
now
better though.
I had him as just a quick waiver thing for my drop list. I think that's now 5 of his last 6 games. He's been wide receiver 2 or better.
Jaden Reed, yeah.
Rice has been wide receiver 9 the past 3 games. Reed is wide receiver 31. It's Rice.
Yeah, but we also just said we're benching Mahomes, so
I understand that, but it's still Rice. Rice is getting more targets than Travis Kelce at the moment. It's Rice.
But you do realize he's playing the Patriots, right?
Yes.
Game script is not in the favor there. I will side with
not even remotely.
Also, a very good matchup for Jaden Reed and the Packers offense.
All right, but
literally, the Chiefs have to score 10 points to win.
All right, let Mike.
I understand that. All right, and you guys can agree that Bill Belichick shuts down your best offensive weapon. What's the Chiefs' best offensive weapon? Travis Kelce. Come on, it's not Rashee Rice. It's Travis Kelce. And who's the next guy that Patrick Mahomes is showing trust in right now?
Jerick McKinnon.
It's Rashee Rice. So it's Rice. He's having the second half wide receiver breakout. I know Jaden Reed is having a breakout of his own, but it's just not as big of his breakout as Rice.
At this point, you gotta look at the matchup, and right now you're leaning him to the wrong way because he's playing the Patriots, who also are a really good defense. So I would temper expectations on Rashee Rice.
Yeah, but they get Rashee Rice involved in the short game. All right, so like in the run after the catch type of catches, and then even last week,
but Jaden Reed gets runs, short catches, and touchdown targets. So I mean, what's the difference right now?
Angelo,
what are we talking about here? What are we doing? What are we doing here? What's going on?
And what you forgot about is before the most talked about play of the week was that Kadarius Toney offsides. What got him down there? The deep throw to Rashee Rice.
Okay.
That previous play, when a game came down to it, all right.
Who scored one of the few touchdowns for the Packers? Jaden Reed on a 20-yard touchdown run. I don't see Rashee Rice doing that.
You're banking on a run from a wide receiver that's not deep.
Also, the targets and the better matchup.
Rice has gotten more targets than him the past 3 games.
I said the better matchup.
Yeah, but you said there's more targets toward Reed.
We see
it's not
dilemma.
Touches, Mike.
We see the dilemma, Angelo. That is.
Reed has 22 touches the past 3 games. Rice has where is he? Where'd he go? Rice has just 23 touches on catches alone.
Weird.
But what's worth more points? Receptions or rushing attempts?
Okay, now I'm going to stop the conversation.
Better matchup, Mike.
Now it got weird, and the better
It's
matchup.
Rice. I'll make a 6-pack bet with you that Rice scores more points than Jaden Reed.
I'm not betting. Why would I bet on the
Put your money where your mouth is.
I could care less about these 2 guys. I'm just trying to guide this dude to better fantasy output than fucking Rashee Rice. I could care less what your ego is like.
What do you mean it's my ego? Rashee Rice. I hate you right now. Rashee Rice is 16th in for wide receivers in receiving yards in that 3-game stretch too. Reed is just getting the touchdowns on the rushing attempts, and if AJ Dillon plays, all right, which he did practice.
Mike, I don't know if you've noticed, but how many points have the Patriots defense allowed in the past 3 weeks?
And how much is Kansas City
what
really
what
scored?
offensive
And how much is Kansas City scoring? Like, come on. I know you love Rashee Rice. You stamped your flag on him, whatever, for your second-year breakout.
Caleb planted his flag.
Yes,
yeah, even though I said it first. But still, Jaden Reed is the better option this week in a better matchup. He gets the same amount of touches as Rashee Rice, and he gets stuff on the ground, man. Come on. Christian Watson's out, too. What's going on here?
You guys should have a battle royale.
Don't listen to this moron.
Whoa, moron is a little much.
Oh,
Christian Watson's out too, man. What do you talk? Move on. This is taking too long.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it there. Now, Mike, give me 30 seconds on if there's anyone outside of Zeke in this offense worth a look for the
Patriots. No, stay away from everyone if possible. Yes, Henry had 2 touchdowns last week, but it was only on 3 targets. I guess if you're in a 12-plus, person league, you could slide Juju into a flex, but don't get your hopes up. Not toughest matchup against wide receivers, but I'm talking like 12-plus, like 14 type deep leagues, because that's desperation play at that point with Juju.
Yep. Before we jump into our
Angelo's enjoying it.
Metcalf or Mixon full PPR this week?
Mixon.
It's Metcalf against the Eagles secondary. That can't stop anybody.
I agree.
I understand that.
I agree. Metcalf, as long as he doesn't get his ass fucking kicked out.
The Eagles haven't beaten the Seahawks their last 6 times playing them.
That's weird.
That's kind of weird.
So I'm just going to use that as a tiebreaker for no reason at all. Mixon.
Nice.
Well, there's volume involved too, but go on. We've argued enough.
Afternoon games. We got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Battle of first place team in the NFC West to the last place team in the NFC West. Ike, is anyone in the San Francisco offense that you are remotely worried about this week against Arizona?
No, not really. They just kind of like to get everyone involved. Debo can get a touchdown. Here's Ayuk. You can get 100 yards. Kittle, you can get a touchdown. C-Mac, you can do whatever you please. Yeah, this team's completely humming right now. It's one of the teams you want to have players on right now for your fantasy playoff team because they'll score points.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's all we really need to touch on with the 49ers. Looking at the Cardinal side of things, and apparently this question is stupid because Ike has him as QB 14. Mike, but I asked you, do you think Kyler deserves to be a top 5 guy this week against the banged up San Francisco 49ers secondary like we talked about earlier in the show? Ike obviously doesn't think so, and he thinks I'm an idiot moron and an idiot sandwich.
I didn't go that far. What the fuck? I didn't use those what Plant does.
All I did was call you a moron. God damn. All right, Ike. Dylan, I know this question is asked towards me, and I'm supposed to answer you, but I'm directing this all towards Ike.
Well, let me just bring up my quarterbacks.
Believe it or not, Ike, did you know Kyler Murray averages 21.4 fantasy points against the 49ers in his career in the 6 games he's played them?
That's a good number.
And in those 6 games, he averages 221 passing yards and has 6 touchdowns and only 2 picks against them. All right, Fantasy Pros ECR has him ranked at QB 15 right now, which is probably the reason why Ike has him around that range. But I'd say he's more in the 5 to 10 range for QBs, considering, all the injured QBs. All right, just because of that, he should be in the top 10.
Yeah, man. None of our rankers on site have hit. Ike's actually the highest on our site at quarterback.
There's so many quarterbacks right now. I'm going to freak out.
How is there so many quarterbacks right now and they're all hurt? That's the part.
That's the point. Yeah, they're all hurt.
Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, Josh Allen, Dak, Stafford, Mahomes, Fields, Love, Tua, which debatable. Goff, I'd rather have. Russell Wilson.
I would start Kyler Murray over Jordan Love.
I would.
All right, so that makes him quarterback 14.
Like you have Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, Tua, and Russell Wilson over him. I would have Kyler over all 4 of those guys. And then Sam Howell. You have Sam Howell.
Russell plays Detroit, who just has been cooked by multiple quarterbacks in a row.
I said,
All right.
I said that's why I like Cortland Sutton earlier. They just don't throw it enough. I don't think the volume's there for Russ.
San Fran's also been destroying quarterbacks lately. They got Chase Young. I mean, Jalen Hurts is the one guy who was able to do good. Granted, the past two quarterbacks was Geno Smith and who was last week? Drew Lock, right?
Yeah.
I think, but still, how can you put Tua?
Drew
Jets
Lock
have been good.
Drew Lock did all right against the Niners.
You can't put him over Russell Wilson because Detroit's been getting cooked. You can't put him over Jordan Love because Tampa Bay's been getting cooked. Justin Fields has been phenomenal lately, despite whatever you hate about him. Mahomes against New England, if you want to put him over that, that's bananas doing that. And you can't put him over Stafford, Dak, Josh Allen, Purdy, Lamar, or Jalen.
Drew Lock, backup quarterback, went in against.
So putting him at 5 is literally the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life right now.
I'd put him top 10.
I would have, like
top 10's better. Okay, top 10 I can live with.
I just think you need to move him out.
Drew Lock can finish QB 17 against the Niners. Why can't Kyler Murray finish 5 spots higher?
Honestly, I think the only people I could put him higher is Tua and maybe Russell. That's about it.
Trevor Lawrence against Baltimore with a bum ankle. I don't like that.
That's what I meant. Or Tua and Trevor, not Russell. Tua and Trevor, not Russell.
Okay. I disagree still, but that is fine. I think, we go ahead and move on, right? James Conner matchup's not great. Probably still rolling him out there, though. Marquise Brown, definitely don't love it. Hopefully he catches.
Well, you got to love him if Kyler's going to be a top 10 quarterback.
No, you don't. You can love Trey McBride. You could love Greg Dortch.
Oh, okay. You got to love Greg Deutschman then.
If
Michael Wilson's coming back this week.
Okay.
I kind of do.
So we love Kyler to be this top 5 to 10 quarterback, but we hate literally all of his options except for a tight end.
I love
what is Kyler
done?
What I was gonna what?
Gotcha.
Now I'm pulling up what Kyler's stats are. Wait a minute, you pompous asshole. 13 finished QB 13, QB 6, QB 9, QB 17. Marquise Brown hasn't been good any of those weeks, asshole.
He's not wrong.
So obviously,
know
he's been
the running quarterback is not good against San Francisco. You do know that, right?
That's
okay.
Fair.
Bingo. All right, let's move on.
He is against the Niners, though. I just don't know what you want me to say. Like, the Niners, he actually has been good against. Like, the Rams own him for some reason. I don't know why. He sucks against the Rams every time they play. But against the Niners, man, he does all right.
Yeah, that is fair. Jumping into the next game, we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We touched on Antonio Gibson earlier. I think we know where we kind of stand on him. Is your trust meter high enough to start McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel in this one against the Rams? Because definitely not a good matchup.
Which I'm pretty sure we said last week or on the Sunday social that Sam Howell and the whole offense is going to has a rough playoff schedule. But I mean, believe it or not, McLaurin has had 4 straight wide receiver 46 or worse finishes. So if you expect him to provide you with some value, it's tough, man. I know the Rams don't have any like highlight name defenders, but they've been playing well. They're playing for a playoff spot. So he's a risky wide receiver 3. With that being said, I wouldn't even start Dotson. He's been worse than Terry McLaurin, and the best of the 3 has been Curtis Samuel, who gets some rushing work, but mostly he's just been doing his job in the touchdown area. He's had back-to-back wide receiver 3 finishes at least, which is better than McLaurin, but still, this offense is struggling, which is weird because Howell has like top 3 to 5 passing yards. It's kind of confusing me.
If you had all 3, Samuel, McLaurin, Gibson, who are you starting this week?
Think more.
I don't like that.
You got to think out loud here.
McLaurin just based off talent. I got hope the talent prevails.
No. I would go Antonio Gibson over McLaurin, but I think the answer is probably Curtis Samuel. I think. Plan, is that where you'd go?
What were the options again?
McLaurin, Gibson, Curtis Samuel.
It's Gibson.
It's real close between.
I can live with that. That's fine.
Yeah. I could live with it too.
Gibson could have as many targets as McLaurin or Samuel.
Samuel, that's over Boyd for sure. Whoever put that.
Samuel could have rushing attempts, but Antonio Gibson's going to have more.
Looking at the Rams side of things, Mike, great matchup. We talked about it. Matthew Stafford was my top waiver guy this week. Actually, no, he wasn't. Odell, my top quarterback waiver. Are we playing everyone in this Rams offense? Stafford, Kyrie Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Outside of
I'll even go as far to say you can even start Demarcus Robinson as a
all right. You planting your flag on it?
I guess so. I wouldn't.
Depends on what kind of league you're in.
Yeah, well, no, 12 teams. 12 teams. I would go with Demarcus Robinson. You get a juicy matchup, second most points against wide receivers. All right, Tutu Atwell is the thing of the past because apparently Demarcus Robinson is now the wide receiver 3 in this offense. He's got two touchdowns in the last 3 games, 17 targets too. So like, give me that's about 5 targets a game. You get a juicy matchup. Don't be surprised if he gets another touchdown this week.
Watch Tutu just randomly come back to life.
Why? He's just he's so weird. He's no longer involved. It just doesn't make any sense.
He did see a deep ball last week, I want to say, and he got absolutely smacked. So that could have had something to do with it.
Tyler Higbee is healthy. Just expect 2 more touchdowns again because when he's healthy, he scores touchdowns.
Well, Higbee is expected to play for the most part.
All right, we're all fucked for the receiver.
We're all fucked.
All right, 6 touchdowns for Stafford this week.
3 of them to Higbee.
2 to Kyron, 2 to Higbee, and then 2 to fucking.
Probably 1 to Cooper Kupp.
Skoronic.
Would you guys start Dotson or Boyd this week? I feel like the ceiling's so much higher for Jahan Dotson, I feel.
I agree.
It's Dotson.
Boyd was on my drop list. He's been bad.
Tajay Spears or Chase Brown and lost Josh.
Tajay.
I think Tajay's the right answer there.
Oh, man, that one is a tough one.
More work.
It's not by much.
No, but I mean, you can't chase Brown's whatever yard touchdown.
It's more targets though for Tajay Spears, and you just hope those kind of targets keep continuing. So it is Tajay Spears, Bengals, and I'm gonna say that you're probably a Bengals fan. Either that, or you just like Bengal Tigers by your YouTube. Picture.
Yeah, it's kind of if you have Chase Brown, kudos to you, man. Wow. I don't think he was drafted in our dynasty league.
Chase Brown, no, dude. If he was available in any dynasty leagues, I drafted him, man. Pride of Illinois. Let's go.
So did I. I definitely did. He was my Zach Evans of this year. Like
I wish I could get Zach Evans anywhere, but everyone took him from me for no apparent reason.
It's gonna be a 2-headed monster backfield next year with Chase Brown and Chris Evans. So let's go.
Monster back.
Next game, guys, we got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Buffalo Bills.
This is gonna be
game of the week.
Yeah, best game of the week.
Game of the year for the
no. We said game of the year for the past 5 weeks.
I know. That's our shtick. Let's go. Looking at the Dallas side of things, we're starting Dak. We're gonna keep rolling with him. We're starting Tony Pollard.
Oh yeah.
We're starting CD. We're starting Fergie even.
Top 12.
Yeah. What do we think about Brandon Cooks after? I don't know who would have put him in their starting lineups last week, guys.
I don't know. Maybe the bum below us.
Is he now outside the top 36 guys after last week, Ike?
No. He's still inside top 36. He's hovering around the Odell range. I mean, in 4 of his last 6 games since their bye week, he's been a wide receiver 2 or better in 4 of them. So, I mean,
it's because of the touchdowns. I said it last week.
Again, yeah, but man, the offense is humming. Dak is humming.
A lot of touchdowns,
He wants to win. I think he's starting to figure it out. He can win it.
Can you?
I think he wants to win MVP. I think he really wants to win it, so he's going to keep going out and play very well.
Can you name the last Cowboys QB to win MVP?
Roger.
Never. There's never been a QB from
Dallas
to win MVP.
I was going to say, I know Troy never did.
Yeah.
So he could very well be the first, and maybe he knows about
Plus,
that, and that's what he's pushing.
I know Angelo says bench Cooks, but I know Bill's defense. Granted, they play good against Mahomes and the Chiefs, but everyone's playing good against them because they can't score over 20. But still, their defense is not great right now with all their injuries. So you can feel safe starting.
T. Higgins or Cooks?
Oh, Cooks. Cooks.
That one's Cooks because they're getting about probably the same volume. Just Cooks has a better chance to score a touchdown. Rashee Rice or Cooks?
That one's Rashee Rice.
Reluctantly, I'll go Rashee Rice, I guess.
But okay, but how about Jaden Reed or Brandon Cooks? Jaden Reed or Brandon Cooks?
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed, because he gets more work. At least I assume.
Ike has Jaden Reed, wide receiver 25. Brandon Cooks is wide receiver 32. I'm trying to find the other guy you said, LaPlante. Who'd you say before
Rashee Rice. I don't remember.
Rashee Rice. Ike has him as wide receiver 24. Actually, one spot ahead of Jaden Reed in his rankings.
Oh, okay.
Wide receiver 24. Brandon Cooks is wide receiver.
He'll adjust
32,
that just to spite me.
He's got to now after the case he's made for it tonight. So yeah, he's definitely.
And he'll regret it. He'll regret it.
He hasn't been updated in a few days. So,
Mike, looking at the Bills side of things, Josh Allen locked in. James Cook a few weeks ago before he went on his string, we were a little worried, but since the OC change, Joe Brady has really started to feature him, especially in the passing game. James Cook, lock it in.
This should be about Stephon Diggs. Come on.
Stephon Diggs has been a disappointment, right? That's what you're getting at.
He has been.
He's been, and you know who else?
You can't bench him. You're not benching Stephon Diggs. So why are we going to talk about him?
There's some teams. There's some leagues who have 2 wide receiver leagues. So if you're deciding between him and
who,
Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, I'd play Amon-Ra and CeeDee. But what about
you're in a 2 wide receiver league? You have those 3 wide receivers.
But what about DK and him? DK has a great matchup.
What about what about Puka and let's say CeeDee Lamb or Stephon Diggs? So you're starting CeeDee. Would you rather play Diggs or like a Puka Nacua in a great matchup against Washington?
Diggs.
Like that could be a real life thing right there because of getting
or even Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs.
It's Diggs.
Really?
Over Puka or over Kupp?
The Bills are still, clawing for a playoff spot. Why are they not?
He's struggling to see more than 8 to 10 targets. He's dropping passes. His he's getting a lot of screens now for some reason, which is weird. I don't know why.
Free points.
Cool. 1 point for negative yards. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, but let's go talk about Gabe Davis here because this is what the actual question is. Because I mean, you want to talk about all right, who would you rather start, Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs then? All right, because Gabe Davis since week 8 has been the definition of
don't even answer, prick.
Exactly. Week 8, wide receiver 9. Week 9, wide receiver 135. Week 10, wide receiver 36. Barely scratching it.
I knew that was Gabe Davis though.
But it's week 11, wide receiver 137. Week 12, wide receiver 8. Week 13 was a bye. And then we get last week where he's wide receiver 133 again. He's literally bouncing every other week. So, maybe he gets a top 36 week a wide receiver this week. But no, it's still going to be Stephon Diggs as the main guy in this offense. And Joe Brady knows that.
I don't think he does.
It's James Cook.
Apparently.
Not James Cook. He's getting more involved, but it's not James Cook.
Stephon Diggs just out here chilling as a wide receiver 40 or worse in the past 4 games or whatever.
That's because you have recency bias since you have them and you haven't made the playoffs.
It's bullshit.
I love it. I love it. Sunday Night Football, guys. We had the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, how high do you have your main man, Odell Beckham Jr. ranked?
I actually have wide receiver 33.
I have it pulled up. Wide receiver 33 is correct.
Okay, cool.
You're not highest on site. Joe Bond has him as wide receiver 30, actually.
How about that? I don't want to say it too early, but with Mark Andrews being out, he seems to be like the go-to guy, kind of, or the one. If you want a big play, it's kind of Odell. We knew this. Michael Plant, I knew you said he wasn't a great route runner. I don't know if you saw that route last week where he burned him for a touchdown.
It's not the big play. It's just he's running the deep routes. Like Zay Flowers is more prone to get the big play. It's just Odell.
No, what I'm saying is he's actually a good route runner, unlike you thought he was. But anyways, besides the point.
I mean, he had.
We're not going to sit here and argue about this.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Not tonight.
He saw his most targets, which was 10 since his 2021 playoff game. He's had 2 wide receiver 1 finishes in the past 5 games. Wide receiver 2 better in 4 of those. He is definitely a trustworthy guy to start now in 12-team leagues. I couldn't be more excited. This is my guy. So
and
I'm excited. You can start him.
If you had to pick one running back in this offense,
Keaton.
Who would you start?
It's Keaton.
More explosive.
If you're desperate, you can play Gus Edwards, hoping he gets, a touchdown or 2. But
because none of them are really getting targets. Really, I mean, Keaton Mitchell. Gus Edwards took one deep one time, or took one to the house one time. Keaton's taking one, so it's kind of a crapshoot for there.
Yeah, Mike. After what we saw from Lawrence last week with his bum ankle, not being able to use his feet much, which, in all honesty, might have helped his weapons with him having to just be kind of quick, precise, and stuff. Do you like all his weapons in this matchup against the tough Ravens defense, or is it really just Ingram who you're wanting to start here?
All right, so I know you say it's a tough Ravens defense, and it is. It is. They just got sliced up by Matthew Stafford last week, but it's still a tough Ravens defense. Trevor Lawrence just gave 12 plus targets to each one of his, main guys. Ridley, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram all last week saw 12 plus targets against the Browns, who again are a tough matchup. 4th toughest matchup, for QBs and 2nd toughest for wide receivers. Now, you're going to want to temper your expectations though, because only Evan Ingram was able to capitalize on that, finishing as the tight end 1. And Ridley was wide receiver 37, and Zay Jones was wide receiver 43, which is absolutely demoralizing because they saw 12 plus targets and they couldn't even scratch wide receiver 3 territory. But if they get that amount of targets again, they're going to continue to hover around that 36 to 45 range, and all they just need to do is catch more of them.
Yeah. Definitely fair. I'm a little worried about the wide receivers here, but like you said, Evan Ingram definitely like it here. Hopefully this game scores a lot.
Kevin Ridley or Odell Beckham? Calvin Ridley.
Jaguars play?
They're playing each other, right. Dumbass.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm looking at DeAndre Swift stuff.
Sorry.
I think I would actually play Odell over Calvin Ridley this week.
Ravens are tough, man.
Because of the matchup.
They just got sliced up by Matthew Stafford.
That's fine.
That's correct. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, I also like over Calvin Ridley.
I'll give you that.
But looking at the Monday night football game here, like I said, thank you for flexing the Kansas City Patriots game out of here and giving us the Philadelphia Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks. Ike, is this the get-right game for DeAndre Swift? And I know you might have thought it was last week as I looked at your home league roster last week, and I saw you started him over Cooper Kupp. It weirded me out last week. I didn't like it.
Very unfortunate. I'm glad I had some other guys that performed well.
Yeah, it didn't hurt you, but I looked at it. Yeah, I looked at it. I'm like, Why did you do that?
Just why? Why are you the way that you are, Toby?
For 7 weeks, he scored 10 plus fantasy points, and then all of a sudden they played Dallas, and I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe he got banged up or something, but they started going to him a whole lot less. He hasn't seen as much targets. He hasn't seen as much carries. Never since then. He's been absolutely brutal. At one point, I remember seeing he was a running back 8 to 9 or something like that. He's now dropped to RB17, so it's been bad. Under 10 fantasy points for the past 3 games. Granted, 2 of them were below.
Remember when you told me he would lead you to the promised land? Him and Breece Hall?
Yeah, they did not. You can have all the talent you want on a fantasy roster. If they suck, they suck.
If they aren't being utilized because someone like Arthur fucking Smith is being a jackass, you're gonna have.
This is why we didn't love DeAndre Swift coming into the season, though, was the non-utilization in the running.
But that's why a lot of people didn't like him after the first week. He didn't see any work, but then Minnesota happened where he saw 28 carries, and then after that he went on tear where it's like, damn, this is the guy we want, and then. Now he's back to where we kind of figured a mid to low end RB2. Right. Got hope for the best. This is a good matchup. They could be winning, so they could use him a little bit more. Finally get him double-digit carries, I
just told you the Eagles haven't beaten the Seahawks the last 3 matchups, and you said they could be winning.
They have a good matchup, though. The Seahawks can be beat.
That seems like a Boston Scott kind of game here for me.
He hasn't been relevant since
only against the Giants. Only against the Giants.
Let's go Boston Scott anytime touchdown this week. Looking at the Seattle Seahawks side of things, Mike, after 1 week of Drew Lock, which could be him this weekend, could be Geno Smith, not sure. Who takes the biggest hit in this offense?
First off, Geno is limited. Practicing on a limited basis, so he is trending up, but still keep your eye on it. Yeah. But if Drew Lock is the starter, the people who take the most big hit is the RBs. All right. Let's be real now. The Seahawks used to be a ground and pound team. They are just not getting it done on the ground anymore. All right. Against the 49ers last week, where that is, obviously it's the 49ers. They only had 65 rushing yards total, but on the year, they're only averaging 92 rushing yards per game, which is 28th in the NFL. When we think of Seahawks, we think of top 10 rushing attack, and it is just not it right now. And if Drew Lock is going to be the starting quarterback, they are going to load the box more. All right. So the position that takes the biggest hit is the running backs. All right. Because like you said, the matchup is, pretty juicy against the Eagles. Best matchup against wide receivers, pretty much them and the Commanders have the best matchup. So
yeah. And it was who was the biggest benefactor from Drew Lock? That was Tyler Lockett last week, who woke up and had a very good solid game with Lockett quarterback.
Granted, DK ejected, who was 2 for 52 yards and a touchdown. So
you know what, Jamie? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the weather affecting stuff. All right, I don't want to talk about it because
I've heard it all year. It hasn't done anything yet.
This goddamn football game, this goddamn football sport we're talking here should be played indoors. Let's just let the offensive run rampant. Fuck the weather. Let's go.
As long as it stays under, because he did send me the breakdown.
It's actually not a good idea.
And in the chat, if it's above 20 miles per hour, it's no bueno. No bueno whatsoever. But if it's below 20 miles per hour, I mean, it does.
20 that 20 to 19 drop off is just incredible,
It really is, though. It really is. I'll send you the breakdown he sent me.
Have you ever played in 22 plus mile an hour wind football? I don't think so.
You know how hard it is to throw the ball?
Try throwing the ball in that shit.
Angelo is right. Weather does fucking matter, Dylan. So we got to talk about it sometimes.
I know. I hate it. That was my point of my little rant right there. I hate that weather affects things. It sucks.
It's life, man.
Thanks.
Thanks.
But that wraps it up, guys. What a show. That was something.
Michael Plank, you got sent by Jamie a thing on how.
I already said that. Where were you?
Think about it, man. He was sitting right here. We were talking to him about it. But got one for Bradley before we wrap up the show. Trey McBride, Jerome Ford, James Conner, Ty Chandler in the flex. Why is the answer Trey?
Trey, unfortunately.
It is Trey.
Not a good matchup for Jerome Ford against the Bears, but I still feel like that should probably be the right answer, I think, here. Ty Chandler plays tomorrow, too. This sucks.
I wouldn't play Ty Chandler. You got better options than Conner and Ford right off.
Still, I play Antonio Gibson over him.
I like McBride this week. Man, I really do, but I can't start him over James Conner. I'm sorry. I know the matchup's tough for James Conner, but he has the best odds to score a touchdown on that team if they get in the red zone. Like, McBride's going to have to break one off for 20-plus yards to get that touchdown.
I don't think James Conner is the answer against the 49ers, man. I don't think that should be the case. I think it's Jerome
Ford.
Volume.
It's the volume, man. He's getting more volume than Jerome Ford. Let's go look. Arizona.
You don't need to go look. You're probably right.
McBride, Conner, Ford, Chandler in that order. That's why I go.
Deion Stafford is a good play this week. Smash play. Washington.
Yes.
Great matchup. So, yeah, he should carve him up. Should have a good week as long as Kyron doesn't
had quite a few QB1 finishes, too, as well. So.
And then Jamie, imagine Tua tanked out playing at 20 miles per hour winds. They'd be tackled by the gust. Ain't that the truth there? Devontae Smith. But yeah, guys.
Devontae Smith will get caught by the wind and just float off like a kite. He's so damn skinny.
Jump up for a touchdown.
Where's he going?
The Slim Reaper, Porter McBride is the dump off. Yep. But guys, that wraps up our Week 15 game preview show. Good luck in your fantasy football playoff matchups. I hope everybody wins. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans. Sign up to become an all-access member. Use that promo code FFPlayoffs as well for 25% off. Mike, you look like you wanted to throw something else in there. What do you got?
Just that I want to beat both you pricks this week in my playoff matchups.
I play you in 2, right? I play Ike in 1.
Ours is close, Mike. I had that touchdown by Michael Mayer, thank God.
You're welcome, because Devontae Adams was definitely giving you a run.
Yeah, I fucked up not playing Jacoby Myers. I got hope for some better.
I mean, it is what it is, man. You can't.
Who would have thought he'd throw a touchdown pass?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that was something, especially when you're playing against both those guys in one throw.
Only LaPlante gets that in the nutsack possibility trophy.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Jamie, we love you too, man. We appreciate you being with us tonight, as you are every Friday. We will see you Sunday morning. We will be here for the Sunday Social Show. Alan will be here with his bets of the week. Joe Bond is a little under the weather right now, but he should be good to go for Sunday morning to talk Sunday rankings. And then Jordan Schultz will join myself and Michael Plant to answer start sit. And then the DFS guys for the last hour before heading up to lock, we'll be talking DFS lineups, Dave Eddy, Chris Robbins. So make sure to check that out, the Sunday Social Show.
Also check out tomorrow, because Chris Robin will be having a little show come out before the first game on that 3-game slate as far as DFS is concerned. So definitely check that out if you want to get some lineups in tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Alan said that he was going to try to do something as well. So, yeah, make sure to hit that bell for notifications, everybody, so you know when those videos drop tomorrow. But, yeah, guys, Mike and Ike, good luck in your guys' fantasy matchups, except for the ones you're playing in me in. But for Ike and Mike, I'm Dylan. We will talk to you on Sunday.
Cross your fingers.